It's been said that friendship isn't something you find, it's something that finds you. Sofia Coppola's 2003 film Lost in Translation is perhaps a perfect example of that, as Bill Murray's Bob and Scarlett Johansson's Charlotte are the most unlikely of friends, but find each other when it's a friend they need most. You could say that the movie is about loneliness, because the main characters always have the immediate option to find something to do on their own. But we see a short friendship blossom by choice, which makes it that much more meaningful. I think it's a safe bet that for the rest of time, when discussing the careers of both Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson, someone will raise the question, you've seen Lost in Translation, right? Lucky for me, one of my tiniest pals has seen Lost in Translation and agreed to review it with me. Please welcome to the Jungle Recording Studio, for the first time, Lila the Sugar Glider. Lila, it's so great to have you here. Thanks for swooping in.
Hey, Al, thank you so much for letting me swoop in. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Of course, today's episode, the theme is friendship flicks. I
Oh,
couldn't be
yes.
happier to have one of my best pals here to talk to me,
Oh, yes.
honestly, about one of my favorite movies. I'm curious, was this the first time you'd seen Lost in Translation? Had you seen it
So
before?
this was my second time watching it. I missed the boat in 2003 for being, I think, 11 years old.
Yeah.
This was definitely much more of I was like, all right, I'm in my mid 20s now. I think I'm ready to watch the movie that I've heard about for so long. I think experiencing this movie at different ages in your life can help set it apart from other things, from other kinds of medium. If I watched this when I was 11 years old, I could feel one way. Definitely felt a way in my 20s and definitely felt a way in my 30s.
I agree with you. I mean, all great art grows with you, and I feel like this is a movie, very soft R rating. So I don't think the 11-year-old you would have been too offended or seen anything. But I
I
do
think I
think,
just wouldn't have known
yeah,
what's the big deal.
it
Yeah,
would
yeah,
have
like
resonated as much.
why? Yeah.
But I do think it is actually a really important movie because
Yeah.
it's a rare movie in that it's sort of a romantic comedy, but the romance is a platonic romance. It's very much just about two people who have found themselves in a situation. Lila, what was your thoughts on the plot?
When I watched it for the first time, there was a very rich sort of nostalgia that kind of set in when movies looked like this. There's a look to it, there's a lighting to it that is different from what we're regularly seeing now. Between my first watch and my second watch, I think I softened my thoughts to it. I didn't love it the first time, and then this past time I really liked it.
You mentioned, that upon a second viewing, it maybe resonated with you a little bit more. Why do you think that is? Was there something specific that stood out to you that was maybe a little more interesting about the story at this point in your life?
I've never been to Tokyo before. My wings don't go that far, unfortunately. I'm working on it. I'm hoping to actually fly out there next year. When I first watched it, like I think there was just a sort of impatient, you're in Tokyo. For both you as a rich, established person, and for you as like a young new person into all this, how could you not find enjoyment in this? And I think that was like my first onset thoughts of it. And then for the last time I watched it, like, recently, I can be a little bit more sympathetic or empathetic to feeling lonely in like odd places.
Right.
Oh, it is very possible for you to feel isolation and loneliness because you're in a place where you don't speak the language or because of what you're currently going through.
Two people, two unlikely souls connecting, and it is loneliness that connects them. And I
Hmm.
hear what you're saying, that when you're in a place as interesting as Japan, as interesting as Tokyo, you would imagine, well, how could you be lonely? You're surrounded by
Totally.
millions of people. There's so much to do. I could see why maybe a little bit of a wiser sugar glider might appreciate that more. As a lion who has spent a little bit of time in Japan and absolutely loved it. I really adored it there.
Yeah.
It is a city that you could find yourself sort of walking around any time of day. It's sort of like Las Vegas in that way, but it can feel very, very isolating, kind of overwhelming in a very defeating way because there's so much to
Yeah.
see and there's so much to do, and especially when you don't speak the language. That's what I think makes this movie really special is
Yeah.
that it's saying relationships can be temporary. They can be
Hmm.
unorthodox, even if they're not anything more than just some temporary fun. As
Yes.
is the case on the show, we do like to designate The plot, 1 out of 10.
If I had to give it a score from the scale of 1 to 10, I give it a solid 7. There's a part of me that wants to give it an 8, but there are two things about it I realized I didn't like the first time and that I still didn't like the second
Do
time.
tell, please.
I could have done without the R's and L's jokes. I was fine with like one, two, especially like I'm not comfortable in this place and I'm trying to make light of how and it felt like it was constant. Now I'm trying to also bear in mind that this was 2003. It was a
Sure.
different time. It was funny. Alex, my husband, walked in and he was like, "Oh my God, I haven't seen this movie since college." I laughed so hard when she said lip my stockings.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, that's so funny. I like rolled my eyes. He's a half Asian sugar glider as well as I am.
Yes, yes.
And so it's funny like where certain things like touch a nerve. I felt like for the most part it was fine. I think there was just so many of them. I could have done
It brought it
without.
down for you a little bit, maybe. It
Yeah, it
sounds
brought
like
it down a little bit. And I think because I'm watching it through the lens of 2025.
the strength of any movie, especially comedy, is how well they
Yeah.
age. So the situation with Bill Murray's character is
Hmm.
he's having a difficult time communicating with the people on set. He does
Yes.
have a translator. The translator seems to be sort of ineffective, which
She's
in
like
and of
mincing the
itself,
words. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
which is which is a funny joke. But yeah, when it comes down to just sort of the general misunderstanding of
Hmm.
communication,
Yes.
it is a joke that they go to a few times. So I can see how if you weren't into it, it might be a little grating. But I should
Yes.
ask you because this is a movie that is all about its characters. Full disclosure, a lot of this movie I feel like gets very different reactions depending on the gender
Yes.
of the audience.
I think that it's not a campaign against Bill Murray slash Bob Harris. Sophia did a really great job in painting out how these two people could feel so lonely, like writing around both of Bob Harris's and Charlotte. Wow. Charlotte and Scarlett are so similar. I thought that I said the wrong name. Bob Harris's wife, like mostly through fax, a little bit on the phone, and then Charlotte's husband, played by Giovanni Ribisi, John. They're not necessarily villains. The Bob Harris's wife is. She's dealt with him being very absent and she's seen this movie before. And then on the other side of the same coin, where John, he's the absent one, he's just so focused on his career that he's not seeing how Charlotte's presence being there and her trying to figure out what she wants to do with her life, he can't be there for her in the way that she needs him to. And I also think that, again, two sides of the same coin, Bob Harris is, he can feel this kind of loneliness that long into a marriage where Charlotte, they just got married 2 years ago. It's not a campaign against Bob Harris. I think that he just is an incredibly lonely person at the studio. I thought that was fascinating where all eyes are on him, but no one is really speaking to him. No one is really, he is a
Well,
project.
but what's interesting about them is that is the key, you kind of touched on the key difference is that Scarlett's character is she sort of can't be seen. Her husband is there, her partner is with her, but
Yeah.
he's completely different. Bill Murray's character is sort of in the opposite situation where he's on the other side of the world from his wife, but she's faxing him at 4 a.m. She's calling.
Yes.
He's trying to get away and has somewhat successfully done it, but is bored. Whereas Scarlett's character is trying to get attention and not
Yes.
she is away with her significant other, so they are completely different situations in terms of
Yeah.
age, in terms of relationship. Again, Bob Harris, which is he was married for 25 years, he's just
So then there you go. Yeah.
very different points of life that they found themselves in. I, as much as I like a Giovanni Ribisi, I didn't feel like they had any chemistry. It didn't buy that they would have ever been in love. They seem like very different people, and even
Yeah.
thought that maybe that was a little bit of a misstep. And I not
I
and
could see
he's a
that.
great actor, But they didn't seem like they'd even be friends, let alone
Yeah.
husband and wife. I would be remiss if I did not bring up Anna Faris. I thought she was
I mean, I
hysterical.
forgot she was
There
in it.
was
That was such a surprise.
again,
Oh my
we're both
gosh.
in the business. I'm a mascot for a production company. Unfortunately, you meet a lot of Kellys in the world.
She
Out,
nailed it. She
she
nailed it.
was funny, and I will say the chemistry between her and Giovanni Ribisi hysterical, so good. The way he
Amazing. I think maybe they were like leaning a little farther away from warmth. I agree with you, or
sure.
I don't know a world where they are actually happy together. Have they ever had a
Yeah,
fun dinner date before?
I
I'm
want to see those
looking
wedding photos. Yeah, what did that look
for
like?
sure. His chemistry with Anna Faris was magnetic. They're on fire. They're on fire together. There was a lack of warmth on John's side towards Charlotte. Not like a coldness, but just like a dismissive
Yeah,
like
very.
brain fogginess. It's this really wild parallel of these two different marriages where they meet in that middle with each other is obviously the meat of the story.
What they find is what is missing in their other
Yeah.
relationships, and I think that that's what
Yes.
the movie is exploring: is this idea divide the lines and in what where passion and happiness and friendship, when is it and when isn't it appropriate. I'm curious, what would you give the characters and performances out of 10?
We're gonna start with Anna Faris because like
She
she
steals the
was
show, and
like
yeah,
she stole a lot of the scenes. She just has that it factor, both beautiful and hysterical.
she gets the
So when
joke. She knows what she
yes,
can do, and she does it perfectly.
yes, I completely bought that this is who she is. I don't know her personally, so I can't
Hey,
say I don't think she is, but I don't think that she is. I think that she's the queen of my heart. That's what I think.
so is that
For
a 10? Am
John,
I locking in a 10 overall, or
I'm
are you?
locking it. It's a 10. It's a 10 out of 10 for me.
I don't think you're going to get a lot of arguments with that. I mean, this is a movie that has a lot of great performances. Bill Murray was nominated for Best Actor for
Yes.
this role, so certainly, Lila,
I would think
if I
so.
have to look into the crystal ball, I think a lot of people are going to be happy with that. You mentioned earlier the look of this film. Lance Accord, who's the DP of this, there's a style and a look in the late 90s and the early 2000s that I don't want to say he's responsible for, but he's very much.
Yes.
He did a lot of, Marie Antoinette, which is another Sofia Coppola picture. He did all of Spike Jonze pictures, so Adaptation, which we
Hmm.
talk about later in the season, being John Malkovich. But there's a very naturalistic, almost documentary style where everything is just lit very naturally, lit very understated. But he does find these really, really beautiful shots. There's this one moment, and I call attention to it because it's so easy to miss. Bill Murray's character is in a limousine and it's pulling up in front of the hotel, and the way the roof on the overhang reflects
Hmm.
over the windshield of the car sort of creates this diamond pattern. And when the car pulls up and stops, Bill Murray's in the back seat, but his head just sort of lands almost perfectly in one of the diamonds. And I'm watching it and I'm going, I can't imagine that they planned that. I can't imagine that was something on the scout that they went.
Totally.
But there's all these beautiful shots that you'll find, even if Bill Murray's just having a pensive moment in the pool. It's a very good looking film, but at no point does it feel like it's trying to be better looking than it is. What were your thoughts on the visual storytelling?
I think there was a part in the beginning where I felt myself suck my teeth and be like, this is like such a missed opportunity to be a love letter to Tokyo. I needed to just like be quiet for a little bit longer because I didn't align that with story progression
Sure.
because these two people are so miserable. There is no love given to Tokyo in their hotel room where there's just the mundane wallpaper and the views from their rooms while they're huge and like skyscrapery. You can't really see the details of the lifestyles of this country, of this
You're literally
culture.
above it at all
You're
times.
above it
You're just
all.
looking, yeah,
Totally.
yeah, you're just
I didn't
looking
even
down
think of that.
it.
Yes. And then it isn't until they find their friendship, they find their flow, that they're moving into the city a little bit in a different way. Like was there like a laser gun? Like was it a BB gun? Was it like what was
The little
that? Like
machine gun thing they get
what
chased by.
was
Yeah,
it?
yeah. The
Uh,
montage where they're sort of running through. They run through a casino. They kind of. So
yes.
yeah, I know the moment you're talking about. There's a character
You know
with
what I
a
mean?
little.
And I love that they got to have that sort of like adrenaline pumped moments through the city. And again, as time went on, the love letter became clearer and clearer
Yeah,
because this place is no longer a place of misery and I hate it here and
right.
I'm so alone here. So I do appreciate that I got tricked. I got played. I was like, wow, as this little sugar glider who's never gotten to go to
This
Tokyo,
little
I'm
small
like,
town sugar glider.
small town sugar glider just wants to see the lights, just wants to see the crossing. And you guys have this opportunity and you're squandering it. But then as time goes on, the places they go, the things that we see, a feeling of like what it could be like my first time in Tokyo kind of thing.
Yeah, their exploration of each other is mirrored by their exploration of Tokyo.
Yes.
I really did appreciate how this movie ends with a hug. This movie accomplishes with a hug 90% of the movies out there are trying to accomplish can't accomplish with a kiss.
Hmm.
They can't accomplish because it's the way that it comes together. Obviously it has a lot to do with the screenplay, it has a lot to do with the plot, but the way that it's shot, they don't have that hug in a room by themselves. They don't have that
Hmm.
hug in the lobby with you. They have the hug outside in the middle,
Hmm.
again in the daylight with hundreds of people surrounding them, and in that moment it is just them. It is just an embrace, and it's just a goodbye. They're never going to see each other again. It's a recognition of this was a super temporary thing. But I don't know, just visually, as simple as that was articulated, when they're hugging and they go to the wide and they come back in, and there's this almost a little tear coming out of Scarlett Johansson's eye, it was such a beautiful visual portrait of what they had arrived at.
I had said earlier
Mhm.
that there were two things that I didn't like about this film. And
Yes.
it was the R's and L's and they kiss at the end.
Because to me the hug is the emotional embrace, the hug is the
And
goodbye,
that is the
and then
yes.
then the kiss is not a, I genuinely don't believe that it's so much of a romantic kiss. We're never going to see each other again. We're going to spend the rest of our lives thinking what could have been, so I'm just going to pull the band-aid off right now
Mm,
and show you that there is nothing there. I just interpret it as a, because there's two kisses, there isn't just one. There's a kiss on the lips and then there's a kiss on the side of the head. Kiss A as a sort of, see there's nothing here, and kiss B is a much more like almost a fatherly kiss on the forehead. For me the hug is the peak, but it sounds like the kiss maybe took things back for you a little bit.
the kiss did take things back for me. I'm not a prude. I'm not like whatever, but I felt like the hug was 100 out of 10. It was the right bow. So I again, and I took this all as like platonic. Even when they fell asleep in the bed, they're finally able to fall asleep. These two insomniacs
Right. Oh
are
yeah.
finally able to fall asleep because they feel like their body's literally at peace and they give that to each other. And I thought that was beautiful. So the hug to bring that back, I thought it was beautiful. It was like, of course, it makes sense. Like you saved each other in that way. And then the kiss just was like, what? Wait, what?
Yeah.
What? Let me ask you this, Al.
Sure. Yes.
As a lion, had they not had either kiss, forehead kiss, lip kiss, would that would that have changed the entire view of the film for you? Was that needed?
If you remove it, I don't think that the movie is worse, but I do think that the move elevates the conversation, and I think that that's consistent with what the movie is. But I think their relationship, there was always a little bit of an underlying sexual chemistry that wasn't founded. I think it's okay. I think it's okay for us to be attracted to people we wouldn't traditionally be attracted to. I think it's okay to acknowledge that without acting on it. I think that's part of what
Mhm.
being mature is. They had such a good time together. Had they not had the kiss, well, what if? By him ripping that cord, it was almost a gift in a way.
Yeah.
You know, and again, as a male lion, I don't want to sound like I'm encouraging our listeners to just run around and smooch ladies and call it a gift. But what I'm trying to say is I feel like that revealed more of the context of their relationship, you know, because
I
by
think
not
the
doing the kiss, there's a question mark. By doing the quick kiss, there is no question mark. And
I
that's
think
my
yeah.
response. Yeah.
That is a perspective that I didn't get. The point of that they'll never see each other again, and that this is almost like an open aired secret, like they're both married, like they really shouldn't be smooching in theory, but like they are having this goodbye very publicly. I can see in a world where this is just to quell all wonderings of could it have
Urges.
been.
We do have to move on, so I've got to get a grade for you on visual storytelling. 1 out of 10. What is Lila gonna drop on the visual storytelling?
Lila is gonna give this an 8.
That's a great score. Well, now we're gonna move on to use of sound. This is a movie that has an immersive soundtrack. We talked about being
Mm.
in the casino earlier. There's a fun scene
Hmm.
where Bill Murray's sort of swimming, and the camera in one shot is finding itself going
Yes.
above and below the water, and the sound is
Yes.
it does a really good job of bringing you into these places and making the
Mhm.
environments feel very, very real and saturated.
I mean, you kind of took the words out of my mouth. That entire night of them out in the city, like the karaoke, down to the songs that they were choosing to
Oh yeah.
sing, all very intentional, all very, it's like it was so immersively digest. Like, don't need to go that far into it. Honestly, it was like a 9 out of 10 for me. Like, I thought it got me there.
The 9 is locked in. It's official. That brings us to theme. I feel like most of this conversation we've kind of been talking about theme. I mean,
I
that's
think so.
movie. It is a character film, but the characters are doing nothing but sort of traversing this theme of friendship, the themes of loneliness and isolation. Not only being isolated somewhere in the world you've maybe never been or that feels foreign to you, but being kind of isolated where you're at in your relationship. So I'm curious, Lila, to round things out, you've got to give the theme a score before we calculate everything. What would you give the score? What would you give the theme, rather? We don't
What
score
would I
scores
give?
here. Yeah. Not
I
yet, we
can't
don't.
score a score. I'm not, the theme of the navigation of loneliness, how you can feel that at any time in your life, like whether you're established, whether you're just getting started, I think is so fascinating. Oh man, like I feel like I'm
Let it come. Let it flow naturally, Lila.
the natural number I want to give is a 9. They've really explored feel the ability to feel lonely anywhere and how finding connection is what will get you out.
That means you've got all your scores locked in. So I'm gonna reveal the total here. You gave the plot a 7, the characters and performances a 10, the visual storytelling an 8, the use of sound a 9, and the themes a 9. That brings us to a total score of 86. A pretty solid
That's
score.
I'm happy with that. I'm very happy with that.
Now, that would technically, depending on your alma mater, probably be a B. Here on Real Talk, things are a little different. I like to think anything over an 80 is an A because we're starting all the way down there at 0 out of 100. Is this an A movie for you? Is this a B movie? What would you.
Well, the numbers can't lie. I put all the numbers in there, but I think I would have actually given this a B plus.
Yeah.
We're really just dicing hairs at this point. An A, a B plus. Like I really liked the movie, and so I'm happy with an 86. I'm happy with an A.
Well, we got 86 locked in for an A. My scores were I gave the
Mm,
plot a 10 to your 7. I did feel like
mm,
the plot was actually the strongest point of this movie. I felt like it was really unpredictable. And even watching it, I mean, I've definitely seen this more than twice, but
mm,
there were moments I forgot. There were things that I kind of saw for the first time. I gave it a 10. Characters and performances, I gave a 9. To you,
mm.
a 10. Anna Faris, I loved her. It wasn't enough for me to give it a 10, but I did feel like these characters are doing everything they needed to do. They themselves seem to be more representational of a life situation than specific characters, but I thought the performances were amazing. Visual storytelling, you and we tied. I gave it an 8.
Nice,
Use of sound, I gave it a 9, just like
nice.
you 9. And themes, I gave it a 9 as well. So we were
Oh
pretty
my God,
completely
we
aligned.
just like kind of
You switched
switched-ish,
to
like
I
those
gave
first two.
overall I gave it a 90 to your 86. That's an A from me. Lila, this was fantastic. If you do end up going to Tokyo, please let me know.
I will let you know.
And if
I will send you
anybody's
a
been,
postcard. Yes.
yes, if anybody's been, please leave in the comments. Let us know where Lila should check out when she gets to Tokyo. Also, any of the listeners should check out redbubble.com, Platinum Plastic. They're one of our sponsors. They do our merch shop. And Lila, you can pick up your own Lila Glider t-shirt. I love it. I've got one. It may or may not be in the vein of Lila's favorite movie snack. Uh,
Ooh, can you guys guess it when you see it?
Let us know in the comments how many t-shirts you buy. Lila, thank you so much again for coming in. Will
Thank
you
you
come
for
back?
having me, Al.
Will you come back and
I will I will be back anytime you ask, my friend. Absolutely.
Well, until next time, thank you so much.
Platinum Plastic isn't just a proud sponsor of Real Talk, they're also the home for all our new designs and merchandise. Follow Platinum Plastic on Redbubble to see all our A+ gear. That's Platinum Plastic on Redbubble for all your Real Talk merch.